Have you ever wondered what might happen if you finally turned toward the parts of yourself you've spent years avoiding? What if the key to real transformation lies in becoming the version of yourself you're most afraid to acknowledge? Many people carry a quiet but overwhelming fear, the fear of embracing their true, unfiltered self. This fear doesn't arise from weakness. It comes from the discomfort of facing traits, memories, or emotions that society labels as unacceptable, shameful, or undesirable. This universal fear is deeply rooted in the human experience. The moment we confront these hidden parts, we often feel overwhelmed, exposed, or confused. And because that discomfort is so intense, most people choose to avoid it altogether. Instead, they create psychological distance, a way to separate the parts of themselves they like from the parts they don't want to acknowledge. This avoidance becomes a coping mechanism, a form of internal escape. We start building a version of ourselves that feels safe, socially acceptable, and easy for others to praise. This version becomes our identity, or at least the identity we believe we must present to the world. Yet beneath the surface lies everything we have rejected: impulses, emotions, insecurities, and traits we fear others may judge. But no matter how far we push these aspects away, they don't disappear. They remain within us, silently shaping our behaviors, decisions, and reactions. This is where the journey of self-discovery truly begins, with the realization that the parts we avoid are exactly the parts we must eventually face.
When we avoid the uncomfortable aspects of ourselves, something profound happens inside us. We split into two internal halves. The first half is the conscious self, the version we curate, polish, and present to the world. This idealized self consists of the traits we believe are good, respectable, and socially approved. It's the persona we cling to because it brings validation, recognition, and a sense of safety. The second half becomes the unconscious self, a hidden repository for everything we consider flawed or undesirable. These suppressed traits don't vanish, they simply retreat into the shadows of the mind. Jungian psychology calls this part of the personality the shadow. The shadow contains everything our conscious mind refuses to accept: anger, jealousy, insecurity, impulses, repressed memories, and painful emotions. It's not an enemy. It's not evil. It's simply the neglected part of our own identity. And even though we ignore it, the shadow constantly influences our behavior from beneath the surface. Jung emphasized that denying the shadow fractures the self. It creates a divided identity. One half pretending to be whole, the other half hidden but active. And this division restricts personal development. If we refuse to acknowledge our shadow, we also refuse the opportunity to grow, heal, and become complete. The shadow waits, silent, patient, but powerful, and eventually it demands to be seen.
Choosing to avoid the shadow may seem easier. It protects the ego from discomfort and gives us the illusion of control. But this avoidance carries a heavy cost. By constructing an idealized self-image and forcing our unwanted traits into the unconscious, we create a fragmented identity. This fragmentation leads to internal conflict. It becomes harder to understand our emotions, harder to make aligned decisions, and harder to live authentically. We end up performing for the world instead of living for ourselves. The constant pressure to maintain a perfect image drains our emotional energy. We begin to feel disconnected, not only from others, but from our own inner truth. Avoidance also blocks personal growth. When we hide our imperfections, we rob ourselves of the chance to improve them. When we refuse to acknowledge our insecurities, we prevent ourselves from healing them. Our idealized self becomes a prison, a facade built to impress others but incapable of nurturing our true potential. The longer we avoid our shadow, the stronger it becomes. It influences our behaviors in subtle but powerful ways. Emotional outbursts, self-sabotage, projection onto others, unexplained anger or sadness, and recurring life patterns we don't understand. Avoidance feels safe, but in reality it keeps us stuck, incomplete, unfulfilled, and far from who we're meant to be.
At some point in life, every person encounters a critical crossroads. Ahead lie two distinct paths. Path 1. Continue avoiding the shadow. This path keeps the idealized self intact. It preserves comfort and avoids painful introspection. But the cost is stagnation. There is no genuine growth, no deep clarity, no true self-knowledge. The individual remains trapped behind a mask, living in a constant state of inner conflict. The sense of something missing never goes away. Path 2. Confront the shadow. This path demands courage. It requires the willingness to explore the uncomfortable parts of yourself, the weaknesses, fears, impulses, and forgotten memories. Confronting the shadow dismantles the illusion of the perfect self, but it also opens the door to profound transformation. By acknowledging both strengths and flaws, you begin to see yourself clearly for the first time. This clarity is powerful. It grounds you, strengthens you, and frees you from the need for external validation. Choosing the second path is not easy. The initial discomfort can feel overwhelming, but it marks the beginning of real alignment. Living with integrity, awareness, and authenticity. When you confront your shadow, you will feel discomfort, sometimes intense discomfort. Your self-image begins to crack, long-held beliefs collapse. You may feel vulnerable or exposed, as if standing without armor for the first time. But this pain is not destruction. It is transformation. It is the process of shedding the false self so the real self can emerge.
This stage is like emotional recalibration. You shift from living as an idealized version of yourself to accepting the truth of who you are. Acknowledging your imperfections does not make you weaker. It makes you real, and realness is the foundation of growth. Allowing yourself to see your flaws opens the path to genuine self-improvement. You begin to understand your limitations clearly. You stop fantasizing about who you should be and start working toward who you can become. Many people prefer to live in the realm of pure potential, imagining their greatness without ever taking action. It is comfortable, safe, free from judgment, but it is also a trap. Potential means nothing without movement. Facing your shadow forces you into reality. It grounds you. It gives you direction. It transforms wishful thinking into meaningful action.
The final choice in this journey is simple yet profound. Will you embrace your shadow or continue rejecting it? Embracing the shadow means accepting that you are a complex being with strengths and weaknesses, light and darkness, pride and shame. It means acknowledging that every part of you has value, even the parts you once feared. This acceptance creates wholeness. It restores balance. It brings authenticity back into your life. Rejecting the shadow, on the other hand, keeps you imprisoned in an idealized self-image. You spend your life suppressing, denying, and pretending. This leads to incompleteness, inner conflict, and emotional dissatisfaction. Integration, however, creates freedom. It allows you to step into your true power, not the power of perfection, but the power of self-awareness. When you integrate your shadow, you become grounded, confident, resilient, and deeply aligned with your purpose. If you're still here, thank you for watching. If you found meaning in this message, consider subscribing to support the channel. And if you feel comfortable, share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Someone else might find comfort or inspiration in your words. Until next time, take care and continue exploring the vast landscape within yourself.